That's a good plan. They are so good with tech stuff there. Yep. Yeah, trying to. They're in there. They get recorded. I just have to get on YouTube and do the thing. Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to have the resource there. And then if I'm gone or you guys are gone, and then it's in there. Yeah. So folks, if you are watching the recording, I'm sitting on a block. We're going to use a block and we're going to use a strap. If you don't have a strap, grab any sort of flexible fabric thing. The same thing I always say. And if you don't have a block, grab a paperback book. That will be the kind of thing that you'll want to use that for. We'll do it for this really neat like hamstring opening thing. And it's a little different than usually with the strap. So that'll be good. I have a confession to make. I'm doing the silliest thing. I get up every morning and I sit down. I was telling you I have my morning affirmations and gratitude. So I write out all of these things. And one of the things I've been writing is something that I've been wanting to make space for. And I say, I manage my time well so that I can be productive, I can rest, I can play, and I have plenty of time to invest in my movement and meditation practices. And I write that out. And then it comes evening, and then I'm like, shoot, I didn't practice yoga again today, and I haven't danced. And it's like, so every day I've just been writing, I make space for the thing, and then I don't like do the thing. I've been realizing this is silly. So about a week ago, I have started actually like you're just getting in and doing it. I've started to like actually writing the piece of my schedule in my day, like just gonna do it, whatever, 15 minutes. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so I've just started layering it in. So I've just started doing it, and it's good. And that's it. I'll just like whatever, 15 minutes. If I'm really busy, 15 minutes is better than nothing. But it's just so funny. So I had my friend send out this, she sends out some little motivational links and videos, and they were actually talking about Marcus Aurelius and how he said, and I'm paraphrasing, that the obstacle becomes the path. The fact that things are hard to do and hard to start becomes why it's worthwhile to do them. And I started thinking of Ganesh, the elephant. He said Marcus Aurelius said that, you know, these difficulties and these struggles, even if it's just starting to do yoga, like the fact that you have to get over that and make it worthwhile, like that's the place where we grow. And pressure is where we grow. Like you have the diamond made from pressure. We have bone density builds up and you get stronger and healthier by applying pressure. That's why I still say try to do down dog a little bit and other sorts of things, because we want to keep the bones building from pressure. And Ganesh, the elephant deity, he is said to be the remover of obstacles, and he is also the placer of obstacles, because we need to have something to push through. I can't just go willy-nilly through life saying, yes, I practice yoga, and so now I'm a good person, and I thought about being flexible, so now I'm flexible. Shoot, it turns out I actually need to do the thing. So we're gonna start off, we're gonna do our face brushing, we'll do our breathing, we'll do a little bit of the Ganesh mudra to kind of apply some pressure and feel some of that strength building. We'll do some other things, and then we'll end with nap time as usual. So it'll be a good time. We'll start with our face brushing. So index finger and thumb together, and then the squishy part at the bottom of your thumb, taking that to the center of your forehead, brushing outwards. And then going from the sides of your nose out to your temples. And then underneath your chin, just gently running from the ears down to your chin. And then taking your hands in between your nose and your mouth at those outside corners, just press inwards. And you can take your fingertips underneath and behind your ears, feeling for the soft spot, and then lifting up from the bony spot. And keeping that lift, that energy, as you take your hands in front of you. So you're going to take one hand facing away from you, one hand facing towards you, and then make like little hooks. And then you're going to hook in your hands and pull apart. And you can still feel that lifting behind your ears. Feeling that power and that energy coming into you. Both the remover and the placer of obstacles. I want to push through my difficult circumstances, my struggles, but I also know that I need to have them in order to grow. One more exhale. And just switch the placement of your hands to the other ones facing forward and pull apart a few more breaths. And it gets a little bit hard. You feel the muscles working, and sometimes there's this resistance to that, like, I don't want to work that hard. Can I be done yet? And the answer is, well, you could, but we wouldn't grow as much. We wouldn't build as much from the experience. One more exhale. And then release your arms down into your lap. And if it feels comfy, close your eyes. If you'd like to look off at something in the distance, you can do that too. Just taking a few moments to connect with your breath. Notice the sensations in your body. As we were saying last week, the giving that listening and attention inwards, that precious gift of our attention. And then the next time you take a breath in, nice and full through your nose, big exhale through your mouth. Again, like that. For 3 ohms. And then you're going to start to open your eyes, and we're going to set up down laying on our backs. I am going to adjust the lighting. I think we should still be able to see here. Just come on down and bring your knees into your chest and rock around a little bit, massaging your back into the floor. And then keep holding on to your right leg, but you can take your left leg and bring your foot down onto the floor. And think of softening the right hip crease, so the space in between your body and your belly and your thigh, just letting that get squishier and more relaxed. So not pulling really tightly, but letting that crease soften. And then you can start lengthening your left leg out away from you. And if it doesn't get straight, that's fine. If it does get straight, you're going to press outwards through the sole of your foot. If it's not straight, you can still feel that right thigh or left thigh bone, moving away from you. We want to feel that lengthening of the left leg. And even though you're holding the right leg is the passive one and the left leg is the active one. That's the one creating the pressure and the work. Take 2 more breaths like this. And then relax that left leg. You're going to take your right leg and cross the body, coming into a twist. I like to rest my foot on my leg so it doesn't cross over too much. And then you can also open your right arm out to the right. Maybe wiggle your rib cage over so that that right shoulder becomes a little bit more open and more relaxed. And then thinking of that softening in your belly as you move into the rotation. One more exhale. And then coming back to the center, go ahead and set your right foot down and take that left leg in, holding on to it wherever it feels good to you, giving a moment for that left crease, that hip crease to soften. It's like you're changing the texture of your tissues to get squishier. And then start to slide that right leg out and away from you. It might get straight. If it does, you're pressing out through the foot. If it's not straight, you're still feeling that thigh bone extend away from you. So that leg is getting longer, almost like it's going to just start to separate from the rest of you. Active through the right leg and very passive through the left leg. Two more breaths like this. And relax all that pressure in your right leg. We'll take the left leg and cross it over into a twist. Open your left arm out to the left. If you want to wiggle your rib cage a little bit more, rotating over towards the left, you might get that shoulder a little softer. And then your belly is relaxing in. One more breath out. And then roll back onto your back. You're going to set both feet down so both knees are bent. And then we're going to do that little tying a knot thing. So you're going to take your right foot and you're going to bring it in between your left foot and your hips. You kind of slide it into that little space. And then if you want to hold onto your right foot with your left hand. So just take the leg and slide it right in between. Yep. And then sometimes you really have to roll over towards the right side in order to get that right knee down. Yep. So you've got the knee down, right knee is down, even if you have to roll over a lot. And you can catch the right foot with your left foot so it stays down. And then maybe you start to relax that left hip downwards towards the floor. And then you're going to start to unwind those legs. So come back into the center, and then you're going to take that left foot and you bring it underneath, and you have the knee down. Make sure that that left knee stays down. It's fine if the right hip is lifted, but if you're able to keep resting that right hip down, it's just going to increase that stretch on the front of your thigh. Just two more breaths. And you're going to release the left foot, let it unwind, bring your knees into your chest, and then you're going to rock yourself right up to a seat. And then when you get to a seat, you're going to grab your strap and grab your block. And here's where we're going to do that thing. And you want to take your strap and bring it right in the very middle. Trying to show up on the light here because it's got to be in the middle. If it's not in the middle, you're going to have some difficulty here. And then you got to put your foot exactly balanced on the block. And then give yourself some space here. And you're going to roll back onto your back and you're going to push the foot into the block. So it's not trying to get the leg in towards your face. You probably want to keep that block going up into the air, right up towards the ceiling. And just like when you were lengthening that other leg, when you were holding the knee, you're going to be pushing and lengthening this foot away from you. When we're warming up, toning the hamstring, getting it a little bit more prepared for some more opening and more stretching later. A little bit more pressure and effort to get it turned on. About 2 more breaths. And then relax that right leg, so bend it a little bit. And then if you can lift yourself up all the way from here, go for it. Might have to give yourself a couple oomph. All right. Feel how like that, like it's different, the feeling of having the block there. It has like, it's a very different pressure that you're getting. Like the strap feels different and you want to do different things with the strap. So that's why I was like, oh, this is a good, I seriously don't think I have done this since 2018 when that page that I opened to was. I was like, oh yeah, this thing, let's do this thing. So let's do it on the other side. And just like when we usually have the strap and I say it's not about getting the leg into your body, you can really feel how that's really the case here. It's that lengthening the foot away from you and trying to push that block away. That's where the work happens. About 2 more breaths. And then go ahead and relax that left leg, and then we got to do the rocking up again, or by whatever means necessary, bring yourself back up to seated. And then when you get there, we're gonna do one more thing, one more little core work. Come on down onto your back again. And you're gonna take your arms down by your sides, just press the palms down. Knees are above your hips, shins are parallel to the ceiling, toes draw back up towards your face. So you're gonna leave those legs bent, feel your belly wrapping in towards your spine. We're gonna take a nice long inhale, and then as you exhale, slowly lower the right leg down towards the floor, but not to it. And then inhale, lift that right heel back up. So just slowly going side to side, lowering the left heel and taking it back up. And then lowering the right heel and taking it back up. And yes, pressure and tension do create change. They do build up our strength, create energy, but where do you not need to be tense and have pressure right now? Hint, it's probably in your face somewhere. So finding steadiness in the breath, a willingness to move forward into what is, even if what is core work and you're feeling a little bit sore by now. Let's say one more time on each side. And then when you get it back in, go ahead and relax your knees into your chest. We're gonna come all the way up to seated one more time, and then this time come out to laying on your belly. You can place a pillow of your hands underneath your head. I'm gonna turn the lights back on. And then once you're down there, start pushing downwards into the tops of your feet, which is going to start to fire up the legs a little bit more. And it might be kind of unpleasant, and we don't love doing Cobra this way, but it's going to, again, get those legs warmed up and moving and fired up for more poses. So start to take your hands back by your low ribs, keep pushing the tops of the feet down, and just take a couple nice, low, easy Cobra flows. So inhale, lifting up, and then exhale, lowering. Just moving through a few times, up and down. Observing without judgment. We call discernment whether or not you actually enjoy how this is feeling in your legs. And etc. And then if you wanted to take one more cobra where you just did it however you like, you can go for that. And then come on down. And then with these hands in, we're gonna lift the belly up and then push into the hands until your chest lifts up too. And then you're gonna turn your left toes to your left, take your right foot to the back of your mat, and then take your right arm up. And we're just gonna keep pressing down into that left arm. So feeling that pressure of pushing the floor away and how it pushes back up at you. And then reach that right arm all the way up and over your head until you bring yourself right back down into table pose. And we'll just switch to the other side. And this is the only thing on our knees today, I'm pretty sure, unless I forgot something, but I'm pretty sure this is it. So with the right hand down, you're pressing down into it, reaching up through your left fingertips. Just take one more breath in. And then reach that arm up and over your head until it curls all the way back down to the floor. And we'll come back in a table pose and take one hand and shake it out and flick water off of it. And then do the same to the other side and flick water off of it. And then spreading out your fingertips, we're going to push down so you can feel that strength in the back of your heart. And then coming back in a downward dog, bent knees if you like, bending and wiggling into your feet if you like, but definitely really strong in those arms and those fingertips. See if you can relax right at the back of your ears where we were massaging before. Take one more big breath in, big breath out. And then see about walking your hands back to your feet this time, just seeing how that goes. Can of course walk feet towards hands too, and then keep walking the hands up the body so that you come up to standing. And then you can stroll back up towards the front of your mat. Bring your feet in together and then sit back into a chair. And you can leave your hands at your hips because you want to be able to see down at your toes. We're going to lift all 10 of the toes up. And then try to put just your big toes down. And then try to put just your pinky toes down. And then try to put like just the 4 toes, but not the big toes. And then just the big toes, but not the 4 other toes. And maybe even articulating one toe at a time, up and down, starting at each, the big toe down to the pinky toe. That one just doesn't. Yeah, okay, well that's enough. Go ahead and relax the toes down. Reach the arms out just for a beat to feel your spine get longer. Inhale, exhale, pull those hips back a little bit more and then straighten your legs and release your arms down. Okay. Strong, adaptive, flexible feet, great for balance. Also working the upper butt, great for balance. We're gonna sit back in. Go ahead and bring your hands to your heart. And then you're gonna try not to move anything but your left heel as you lift the left heel up. So everything stayed real steady, but all the weight is now in your right foot. And then you're going to take just a couple of taps back and forth with that left foot. Trying to stay steady in your leg, trying to keep the breath steady. The slower you move through that pressure, that obstacle, the more we are working. Let's try one more time. And then stand up. Yourself a little break, bounce and wiggle because it feels good. If your feet went in funny places, go ahead and bring them back into that alignment to sit back in the chair and get ready for the other side. So hips are going back. You could lift your toes up, but we won't do any of the funny business this time. We're going to do the tapping funny business. Keep the left leg steady as you lift the right heel up so you feel that strength building, that pressure building, and keep it going as you tap back and in. Try to keep the chest open and lifted, the breath steady. Probably this is the last one. Go ahead and bring both feet in, sit a little bit lower, and then stand up and wiggle. And then this time we're going to go into chair and chair pose. We say often like chair pose, very similar to warrior one. A lot is very, because you have like this front leg is very similar. So we're going to try to come from chair into warrior one and just like move slowly, feel like kind of you're moving through molasses. Maybe it's really smooth, maybe it's awkward, maybe you end up in the wrong place, doesn't matter. It's not about what it is, it's about that whole process of getting there. Let's bring that left foot back. Yeah. And then notice where you ended up and like, okay, pretty close, good stuff. All right. And then check in with how it feels in your pelvis. So there is some twisting going on here. I'm trying to rotate both sides of the hips to face forward. Just notice how that feels. And we're going to apply a little bit more pressure in order to maybe make this feel a little bit better. Lean forward slightly, take your left hand forward, and then open your right arm. So we start to come into a twist over the front leg. And by leaning forward and softening the belly, we create a little bit more room to twist. And you might even be able to feel that your right hip is pulling back towards that left foot a little bit more. And then release the pressure of that twist, come back up to warrior one. It might feel different. Might just feel better than twisting. Okay. And then go ahead and bring your hands in. You're going to come to stand all the way up on your right leg. And just tap your left toes down there. Try not to put weight on your left toes. Try to just push down in that right leg and you might feel a little bit taller. If you wanted to lean forward slightly and just hover that foot up off of the floor for a moment, you could. And then you'll set it back down. And then we'll come back into chair pose to take that slow moving through split pea soup kind of dancey reach back into warrior one. And then if you didn't get back very far and that knee is going forward, you might need to scooch back just a little bit more, a little bit longer. And then checking out, okay, how does it feel in my hips? Does it feel loose? Does there some tightness, some resistance? And then what happens when I do this? Lean forward, take the right arm forward, the left arm back, and then start to twist over towards that left side. Keep pulling the hip towards the back foot. One more, twist, change legs and twist the other way. Yeah, it's like, oh. So twist this way. Yeah, and then your hip starts to pull back, and then come back out to warrior one. Go ahead and unwind it, and it might feel different. It might feel more spacious. It might just feel better than twisting. And then bring your hands into your heart. You're gonna come and stand up on your left leg, and you just want those right toes to be tapping back there. So almost no weight on those toes at all, if anything. And then push more into your left foot so you have more of that lift up. And then if you wanted to lean forward, hover those toes just barely off of the floor for a moment. And then come back to having both feet down and bounce and wiggle whatever got sticky. And then take your legs out wide. Doesn't really matter which way that you face. We're going to take the right toes out to the short side of the mat. The left toes come in slightly and then bend into your right leg. So we're in warrior two. And then in warrior two, I'm willing to bring your right foot just a tiny bit more forward, just because, yeah, you just want to have that knee going as far forward as it is. You're going to take this right thigh bone and pull it towards the back foot. So everything, yep, I just saw everybody's muscles turn on. And then you're going to reach forward really, really, really slowly so that you have time to feel how hard it is to keep that thigh in and how useful it is to pay attention so it doesn't go anywhere. And then you can take your elbow down and your top arm can come maybe behind your back if that feels good, or up and over your ear. It's up to you. And by pushing down in that right elbow a little bit, you can make sure that you're not falling into your joints, that the chest might lift up a little bit more. You're really opening that chest outwards. One more exhale. And then start to lift yourself up. We're going to straighten the legs and just switch sides. So go into warrior two in the other direction. Check out that knee goes in the direction of, you can even think of the second toe instead of the big toe. That way you're giving yourself a little extra line up there. And then real slowly reach forward. Keep pulling that hip back. Don't let the knee creep forward. And then you'll take the elbow down And you can take the top arm over your head or behind your back. You get to choose because we're a little bit more in the hips and in the legs on this one, but still lifted out of that bottom shoulder. Opening the chest up, no matter which variation you've chosen. One more exhale. And start to lift yourself up. And we're going to bring the legs in. Okay. We're going to do a revolved half moon and then half moon. If the block is adequate to have your hand on, great. If you would rather go like put your hands on the chair or the bookshelf, if that's a little bit higher and more sturdy, you can go for that. I'm going to stay here on the screen, so you can pretend I've got a chair or whatever. You're just going to have something in front of you. And we're going to go into the revolved one first. So I'm going to have my right hand on a block and my left foot down. I'm going to take the right leg out. It doesn't have to go high, but do get it up there a little bit. And then left hand, left hip, look to the left. Push down a little stronger in your left foot. Maybe the left shoulder rolls open a little bit more. And then we're just going to switch sides. So you're going to take your left hand down. You might have to move the block. You can get the right foot back up. It doesn't have to go high. Can you reach the right arm up? And then a forward fold when you feel like you've wrestled with that enough. Go ahead and come down, bounce your hips around a little bit. And then I'm going to leave the block under my left hand. This time it's my left leg that's going to lift up. You got to push down a little bit more into your standing leg so you can stay lifted. Lift those inner thighs. Right hand, right hip, look to the right. And then you're going to take your right hand down. You have to move the block over a little bit if you've got a block instead of something bigger. And then as the left leg lifts, the left toes face out. You're lifting up through the chest just like you did in side angle. And then when you have struggled through that pressure enough, take both feet down and wiggle around and start to come up. Very topsy-turvy to try to do both of those in a row. Okay. One more thing before we go down. Just take 1 foot forward and 1 foot back. Leave your hands at your hips, or you can hold on to your wrist or your elbows behind your back. We're just going to keep this front leg pretty straight as you come forward over it. And then see about pushing down into that big toe mound of your foot a little bit more. One more exhale. And then lift it back up. Just switch your feet. Keeping that front leg straight, leaning your heart forward over. It's fine if you want to round in a little bit more, or you could keep your chest lifted. Really just thinking about where the pressure is in that front foot for now. How that changes the alignment of your hips to push down into that big toe mound. One more exhale. And then lift it up. And then release your arms, release your legs. We're going to come down into a seat. So come into your bound angle pose. Give a little bit more space of your feet to be away from you than you might usually, and then take your do the adjustment of the flesh, and then coming forward over these legs. And we've had a lot of the pressure and a lot of the effort. That's what's built up the warm space in order to get into these stretches. So now that we've done all of the hard work, then we can sit back and try to soften in. About 2 more breaths. And then when you're settled in that, start to lift yourself up. We're going to go back to grabbing the block or the paperback book. And if you've got a paperback book, you can just stay with just the one, or if you have an extra book or something, but we'll go with the narrowest one here. Go ahead and take your hands back behind you so that you're supported, and just push the feet into the block. And then if you've got a little bit more room to bring your feet a little bit closer or a lot closer to you, you can try that. And we'll push into the hands, lift the chest, push into your feet. And then relax that. And if you want to go a little bit more, so if you had like an extra book, you could put it in. If you've got the block, just shifting it to that middle setting. And then take your hands back and press gently your feet into the block. Yeah, it totally expands this insane line. It's fairly profound. And then relax it. Go ahead and take the block out, and then go ahead and bring your feet back together and just come forward to whatever degree and whatever variation of this pose feels yummy to you. Notice if it's any different, if it feels better, worse, you're not sure. One more exhale. And then coming up, we're going to take the legs, we're going to flip one leg over. So I've got this pinwheel shape, and then bring your hands back, press the knee down, lift the hip up. And we'll stay up here because we won't stay here for super long. But once you get that hip up, even if it doesn't need to be up, try to press it up, and then let your hip reach up to your belly, and then it gets like right into that very center point. It's like if you have a little like pin here, you're dragging that pin up into your belly button. Is that better in the knee to come up like that? Yeah, no, I get that's a good one. That's a good mod. I like that. Okay, go ahead and relax that one, and then roll to the other side. So it feels like it's like more cushioning and just feels better in the bone. Okay, awesome. I'm putting that in here. Thank you. When I first started teaching, I was at a lot of places that were like really, really small classes, and people are like, oh, is that like really sad? Like you don't have a lot of people. Like I learned so much when we're like able to be in these small spaces. It's like, I know my body really well, but I don't know yours very well. So like there's 7 billion other bodies out there that I need to be aware of. So it's still this like, ooh, just ooh. Yeah. Ooh. One more exhale. And then rest it, and then come back out. So take your left leg out in front, and then cross your right leg over, or don't cross it over if that's not how your knees work. You're gonna hug onto the thigh, take your right hand behind you, lift up, and then soften your belly into that twist. Keep pulling the right thigh into that center space so you're opening the outside of the hip, and press that right hip down just in case it's lifting up. One more breath out. And then relax that twist. Unwind your right leg and take the left one in so that you're crossing it over, and then you'll hug the thigh in, lift up in the spine, and soften your belly. Keep pulling the thigh across and pressing that left hip down. One more exhale. And then release your twist. Take that left leg back out in front of you, and then this time you're going to bend the right leg in so that you've got your knee open and your foot in. And if you wanted to like place something underneath your knee, if that feels better, if it's floating up there, that can feel nice. And then you're going to come forward into a fold, and you just go to whatever degree feels good to you. Keep breathing softness into that shape, into your body on your exhales, noticing where the resistance and the pressure is and whether that's serving you. Two more breaths. And then starting to come up, you're going to take a little twist towards the bent leg. Just a little exhale into that. And then twist away from the bent leg. And letting those go. You can switch out your legs, taking the right one forward and the left leg in. And then adjusting and shifting wherever you need the support, and maybe like move the flesh, whatever it is, and then start to come forward over that leg. Two more breaths. And then start to take yourself up out of that fold. We'll take a little twist over towards the bent leg. It doesn't matter, we'll just twist both ways. And then go over the other way. That's irrelevant. And then relax it. Go ahead and come on up. We're gonna take legs out and just like a little bit, like sometimes we do like say like bring your legs in like this. If you have a little bit of space, but not a ton of space, you might have a little bit more room just to come in a way that just letting your back relax. You can even like use your elbows to kind of support you here so you don't have to worry too much about coming forward. Let's take two more breaths. And then start to come back in. And we're going to make our way down onto our back. So if there's anything you want to have handy in Shavasana, you can grab that. We'll meet knees into the chest, giving a little hug, little rock around. That way, okay. We'll bring the knees into the chest and the knees outside of the chest so that you can reach up for happy baby, holding behind your feet or behind your knees. Letting your tailbone uncurl in the direction of the floor. It's not going to get there, but it keeps moving. One more exhale. And then releasing your feet down, set the soles of the feet on the mat, heels nice and close to your hips. And then with your arms down by your side, snuggle your shoulders under your back. We'll do two bridge poses. The first one just to get a little bit more used to that heart opening. So push into your feet, feel your hips lift up, maybe wiggle your shoulders in again. Maybe you hold hands, you don't need to, it's just an option. Take another breath. And then as you exhale, gently release so that your hips come back down onto the floor and you can take a little breather. And then when you go back up again, seeing if there's a little bit more space. We haven't done a lot of heart opening today, but do you want to stretch out the thighs and feel the back moving in all directions? So go ahead and press back up into bridge pose. Maybe arms under your back, maybe hands hold your hips. Take another big breath in. And then gently release those hips down. Bring your knees back into your chest. Open your arms out to a T and roll your knees over to one side. And as you go into that twist, letting your belly soften, letting the opposite shoulder relax, checking in with your eyebrows, anywhere else that might have gotten tense. One more exhale. And then go ahead and bring the knees over towards the other side. So you've got the opposite twist and then softening the opposite shoulder. One more breath out. And come back to the center. You can set your feet down now, letting the knees rest against each other. And if there's anything else that you need to round out your practice, go ahead and taking those movements or shapes. But if you're ready to start to settle into your final rest, allowing yourself to move into that space, get supported, get set up. And enjoy this beautiful rest. objective judgment, now at this very moment. Unselfish action, now at this very moment. Willing acceptance of all external events, now at this very moment. That's all that you need. And these words by Marcus Aurelius confirm for us, remind us that the only real truth is now. This is the way it is, and it could not be any other way, or it would be. But with some action and effort, it can be different. So as you start to come back into this moment, back into this now, breathing a little bit more deeply, maybe making some small movements, and then whenever you're ready, rolling yourself over to one side and offering this moment of gratitude for practice, for being able to come to this space together to share across the airwaves. Whenever you're ready to come up to your own version of a comfortable seat, making that transition. Letting your hands gather at your heart and your heart continue to lift up, to open as we seal our practice, releasing an Om together. Big breath in. Om. Bowing down to the love and light that resides within each of our hearts. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you both for being here. Good. Thanks for tuning in, Ruth. Yeah, that was good. It was a good one. I'm enjoying this. You can just leave the straps like kind of tossed over by my bag there. There was one time I thought that I would keep them all rolled up in a bag together, and then reality got the best of me. Bye, Ruth.